Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. I've seen a couple of people that I follow on YouTube talking about fight sticks recently, so I thought I'd like to show you one of mine, my pride and joy. First of all, the first video I watched was Retro Game On, who is this Australian guy, does a really good bunch of retro titles, and he does a lot of hardware stuff where he tries repairing things himself, etc., changing mod chips, etc., things like that. And he actually built himself his own fight stick, put it in a wood veneer case and did a really good job. The other fella, we all know, is the Hightlander. He's actually so enjoying making fight sticks, I guess he's decided to make a second one. My hat's off to you, Wouter. I get your reasoning for it. You want to be able to have those JAMA pieces inside the second stick, and that would have been a lot harder to do with the first stick you made. But I'm certainly not going to try and make my own because I've already got one. A couple, actually, which I'll talk about in a future video. But this one is my pride and joy. Now, you've seen the thumbnail, so you know this is the Mad Catz Tournament Edition Chun-li Street Fighter V arcade fight stick. Gonna take it out of its box here. I put it back in for this video. This is not the original opening. But when I got this, it wasn't for sale anymore, and by the time I got interested in getting a fight stick, it was past the point of being able to purchase them. However, somebody on eBay was selling this. I don't remember how much. I want to say about 350 bucks, which seems steep, but these went for about 300 initially. Plus, this came with Street Fighter V on disc, and this was before they were like $5 for PlayStation Network sales, so I thought, yeah, that's a pretty good value. And also, this Chun-li Street Fighter Fight Pad for the PS4, or PS3. You've actually seen this in use without realizing it. When I did my Yaba Senshiro Sega Saturn emulator for my phone, I was actually using this controller to make the game play, and the way it works is you put batteries in, it pairs up with Bluetooth, and you can actually hook in the little dongle that it pairs with into an on-the-go cable, plug it into your phone, and yeah, this works great as a Sega Saturn controller. So really pleased with that. So these two items plus the fight stick, I think made it worth 350 bucks. However, let's actually open it up and show you what came in the box because it is glorious. Now, before I start, I had looked at a few Chun-li fight sticks. As you know, Chun-li's my favorite fighting character, so the fight stick had to be in her name. And I'd seen a few over the years, but I was never really impressed with the art on them. And I know you can change the art on these fight sticks yourself, but that's a lot of fiddling around I don't necessarily want to do. Then when I saw this Mad Catz one, I thought, yes, that's the art style that I like, so let's open it up and I will show you why. There we go. The sort of, I guess, official Street Fighter V art for Chun-li. You see this on t-shirts and stuff all the time. Let me pull it out. Out of the way. There we go. Yes, this is the artwork, and you can see it's actually on the fight stick itself. This is a good pose for her, and it's a likeness that I'm quite enjoying. I think this is certainly the best looking fight stick I've seen. Now, what's nice as well is this outer casing is not actually the box itself. This is just a sleeve that I can pull off. Got the Mad Catz logo itself on the top, and inside is the fight stick. Really nice, well packaged, held in place with these styrofoam corners. Super nice fight stick. Really like this one. Now let me get it out of here. And there is the fight stick itself. It is super heavy, durable. It's plastic, but it's got a metal base underneath with some foam padding so it feels nice and comfortable on your knees. Sanwa parts. These buttons are official Japanese style. It's a ball top, which overall I don't have too strong of a like or dislike for ball top versus bat top. This works nicely considering it sort of matches the yellow of these. I like the blue and yellow pattern. What's really great, the sort of killer app for these things, you can switch it from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 3 mode, so you can use this with your PlayStation 3 And I still got that Darkstalkers remix high def, whatever it was called, for PlayStation 3 that I got on PSN Plus sale for once for free. So I've been hanging on to that. Love that game. What else have you got here? Back here you've got your start and select button and options and share. So you don't accidentally hit the share button and try and save some footage while you're in the middle of a tournament mode, which is really good. This is the killer app as well. I love this thing. I'm going to get back to it. You got a couple of rings here because I guess if you're like a real professional Street Fighter player, which I am not, and you go to a lot of tournaments, this is actually handy. You could put a shoulder strap around this and carry this around like a briefcase over your shoulder. It's pretty heavy. You wouldn't want to be carrying it in your hands too much. You may notice at certain points, if you're looking really closely, there looks like there's like some bits of gunk on the material on the surface of the plastic here. That's actually underneath this protective layer in front of the artwork. I could pop this thing off and maybe dust that out of there, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. The other nice thing with this, and this is possibly where those folks who have made their own fight sticks will maybe think about if they could get their hands on one of these, it's worth doing. The front of this pops open, and inside you actually have access to the hardware yourself. And this is really, really a big benefit of these things. You can take out these pieces, change them out for any other kind of buttons you would want, although to be honest, San was probably the tournament leader or industry leader when it comes to tournament fighting stick parts, so why would you? However, you can. They're easy enough to just pop the leads off and change the buttons out if you like. These screws here you can take off so you can get access to that artwork. It comes with a little tool in here, and this is actually in a little removable rubber gripper. This is a screwdriver. What is it? On one end we've got a hexagonal, pentagonal, I'm not sure what shape that is. And then on the other we got a flathead screwdriver, so you can do various mods yourself if you so desire. I don't. It's got a couple spots for some extra buttons if you happen to have yours break. And again, this is sort of made for the professional Street Fighter player who's going to be taking this on the road and going to tournaments and stuff. So it's a toolkit in addition to being a fight stick. In here, this is the documentation that came with it. And it's got, you know, a sticker for the Mad Catz logo if you so desire. If I can get it out of there. There we go. I got some instructions here on how to use it, various things that this thing can do. I'll be showing it off in a minute. Now this is the big one. This is actually very important for people who really know their stuff. I don't know if you're going to be able to make that out, but yeah, you can. Do you see how in the center of this ring, it's a square-ish shape? That's because this is a square gate, which you would use here. You can't quite make it out. I'll do a zoom. What I've got installed in here is an octagon gate, which means that for the joystick, when it moves left, right, up, down, etc., there's corners in the 4 cardinal directions, and then there's also corners or little indentations in each of the diagonal directions as well. So it's got 8 corners. It is an octagonal gate. This is a square gate, which means it only has the 4. Why is that a good thing? Why would you want to do that? Well, for real proper Chun-li players, she's a charge character, so a lot of the stuff she does requires to like hold back and left, or down and back, or forward and up, that kind of thing. And when you've got a square gate, you can find those corners really easily. There's even some moves where you want to do like down and then slide, slide. The square gate is super handy for that. On an octagonal gate, it's not so easy to do. It's great for quarter circles, which a lot of Street Fighter players use. And because it's octagonal, there is a term called riding the gate, where you can kind of just follow the edge, the feeling of that gate with you. Now, I've left octagonal in here, even though I'm a Chun-li player. I'm thinking I should actually swap these out and just see what difference it makes to my gameplay. But the reason I haven't put in the square gate is because I actually mostly use this thing for retro gaming, and I'm going to show some retro games in a second. But if you're trying to play, I don't know, Pac-Man, for example, you want to go, you know, through the maze to this direction, then you want to go up, and then you want to maybe, you know, go down and stuff like that. For the 4 cardinal directions, the octagonal gate I find is actually better. It's just for Street Fighter playing. I should maybe switch it out to the square gate. I'm still on the fence about doing that. Luckily, as you can see though, that would be super easy to do. I would just pop off these screws here and then take that octagonal gate out and put the square gate in. One last thing that's inside here, again, kind of the killer app for me, is this. This is the USB cable that plugs into your PlayStation so that you can actually control. And on this end, we have a unique little connector with some holes there, plus a nice gripping screw-in terminal post. Why is that important? Well, remember I showed you on the back here, this connector here. This is where this goes. So basically, if I can line it up correctly from this angle I'm sitting, where's the top? I think that's the top there. Oh wait, there's actually a notch that shows you that's the top. With that in place, you can actually screw the connector on. Not only is that going to hold on there securely, but the real killer is you don't wear and tear this connection down very much. Or if you do, you can, I hope the theory is, you can buy replacements for this. That's important to me because, as I mentioned, I have other fight sticks, and in each case, or at least in the main case that I was really enjoying, this connection, it was all like wired in, locked in place. And this wire, this neck, wore out over time. It actually broke and frayed, and I can't really use that fight stick anymore. Sure, I could replace that connector, but that's a bit of a pain. And when I saw this one had this connector already as a separate piece, something you could replace, again, I assume you can buy these somewhere, that was a real deal maker for me when it came to this fight stick. Okay, well, that's enough talk about the hardware. Let me show you it in practice.
I'll eat something sweet after I take care of this.
Here we have the fight stick being used, what it was designed for, and that is Street Fighter V with Chun-li doing her bits. As you can see, we got medium, light, and heavy punches. We got medium, light, and heavy kicks. Yeah, it's a really good stick for this purpose, and it really worked well. And here's Chun-Li's signature move, the spinning bird kick. Of course, while the cameras are rolling, it's very hard to replicate it, but yes, it is possible to pull it off pretty consistently there. Her other signature move is a Kakoken, which is one of those charges, so it's charge, back, forward, and punch. Pretty happy with that. Now let me show you some retro gaming with this fight stick. We got Galaga, the one that came out for the PS4. The one that's like a gigabyte in size when the game is only a few K. I don't understand it. But here we go. This is me playing Galaga with the fight stick. It works really well. Truly a killer app for any fight stick. The main reason I would want to get one, to be perfectly honest, is to play Pac-Man. This is where that octagonal gate really comes in handy, and yeah, it plays fantastic. Really, really like it. I think I slightly prefer Pac-Man on Vol, but for a fight stick that I can just plug in and play anything, yeah, this works pretty good for me. Now just to mix it up a bit, I'm going to play Asteroids on this, and I like to play like the original control panel, which is all buttons. So I've actually mapped the controls for the Flashback Classics on Asteroids for the PS4 to my fight stick, just using the buttons. I got left, right, and shoot and forward, and I've actually mapped hyperspace, which I'll show you in a second, but here I am just playing Asteroids the classic style. There we go, that's me using hyperspace. So typically it's mapped to a button below the controls, but in this case I've just mapped it to one of the upper buttons. Works like a charm. Yeah, I really like this fight stick. It is everything that I need. It's got so many possibilities. It's just perfect. It feels great. I'm very happy with it, and the price tag was not bad, I think, considering I also got the Chun-li fight pad coming along with it, which is great for playing Yabus and Shiro, and other applications as well. And also, it came with Street Fighter V, so that works out very well. So yes, I'm very, very happy. I don't think I'll be trying to manufacture my own fight stick because I've got this. I do have a couple of others that are worth mentioning in a separate video, do a little comparison and why I don't use them very often. But until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.